Leroy, welcome to the show.
How you doing, Chuck?
I am fantastic. See, that's funny. See, this is what happens when you have friends or family on. You don't get that normal. I'm so pleased to be here, sir. You're like, what up? Let's start with our childhood. How would you describe it?
Oh wow, I think we had a pretty good childhood considering my elements though, but overall it was good. We had a good
You, you,
childhood.
your
Although
elements?
I had to live in a cave during the summer, but that was okay.
Oh, that elements. I'm like, what do you mean your elements? You can't
My
just say that.
elements,
Right. You can your ailments. Yes, yes. He's talking about having severe asthma and eczema and having to adapt to his environment and that kind of thing, right? But outside of that, you say a normal childhood, right?
outside my cave, yeah, I was okay.
Outside of your cave. That is
Uh,
yeah. I have to think about that.
cave means air conditioned. I
Yeah,
had my own air conditioned room.
dark. It was a cave. No, you're right. It was a cave. But yeah, I actually think about that sometime. I remember when we had to go up to Minnesota and go to the Mayo Clinic, and you met
Yeah.
some friend there, and you all were hanging out. And it's so weird that I think about that now. I guess because of all the noise, but I don't think about it because of a health scare or anything like that. I remember you befriended another boy who was a patient there. You were hanging out, so of course the families were hanging out together, whatever. And I just remember
Oh
mom's
yeah.
mom's reaction to that. It was so funny. It was subtle because we should talk about that too. We had something unique in the sense that so we grew up with both parents in the home, but we
Yes.
start to I don't know about you. I don't want to speak for you. You can correct me. This is what I like about this. I have my memories. Leroy's a couple years older than me, but we're the closest of our siblings. So we actually went to high school together and all of that. But I might remember some things and he was older. So he might be like, no, I kind of remember it this way. So I'm gonna learn some stuff from this interview as well. But I think that one of the things that's interesting that I didn't learn until later was just how different mom and dad were, right? When you say that they were different, but we didn't really know how much until later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were different.
So, like, mom would, and I just, you don't have to feel bad. She knows because I talk about her on the radio sometimes. But
Bless her heart.
I remember, so I wrote, when I wrote my second book, she was reading it. She's like, man, she's like, it's good, but people going to think that I'm racist. And I was like, well, I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Oh,
well,
it's still about being a Black Panther, but that's okay.
a rather extreme one. No, but it was funny. So I always say that we were lucky in the sense that um, they were individuals and they had their own views and stuff. But at the same time, we got right at the end of the cusp of the traditional relationships. So mom didn't really say much. She took a more, traditional role. She was a housewife. Dad was kind of the patriarchy. You can't say patriarchy today. That's so evil. But and he was like the strong silent type. But it was a good mix in the sense for us because I don't know if I'm the same person because they raised us well, good morals, told us right from wrong and all that kind of stuff. But I know you've said some things about this too, so you noticed it. But I thought it was interesting to share from another point of view that as we got older, we used to joke about how mom would say some things we had never heard before. It would like shock us, right? It would be, like I think I was probably in my mid 20s the first time I heard mom curse.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, same for you.
Wow. About
And
the same here. Heck, we was well in our 20s, if not 30s.
but yeah, and then we would be like, whoa, we would look shocked, like, what did she just say? Did you just hear that? But the same thing about race. It's like you joke about Black Panthers, but she had these really extreme views about race. But because of the time, she didn't really say anything. So I often wonder what I would be like if when we were, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in those formative years, if she was saying that stuff out loud, but she wasn't. So you think, because I look at now, I talk more about what's going on now, obviously, than you do, but I see these kids and I was like, they think that way because that's what their parents say. And technically, our mom thought the same thing. We just didn't hear it until we got older. But now, all the time, right? She'll say, she's to the point that she'll say, yeah, she'll call me. I don't know if you have these situations. Say, I listened to the show today. It was really good. That woman was very interested. Is she white? Right? She's always want to know the race of people. What'd
No,
you
she
say?
would ask, "Are they Caucasian?"
Oh yeah, you're right. She was like, is it? She wasn't a Caucasian, was she? It's like
Right.
everything. If she calls to get her window fixed, she was like, and it was a Caucasian. It's like everything
Yeah,
is about race. But we didn't hear that when we were younger. Where you contrast that with, obviously, dad was older, so we didn't know much of his childhood. But when he passed, we were going through his stuff, his yearbook and all that kind of stuff. And he had, how you went to high school and your friends signed your yearbook and all that stuff. I would say, what
yeah.
what percentage would you say was white? At least 50, right? I would say probably more, right?
Well, it was at least 50. I thought it
Right,
was a little more.
right. So he went to high school.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, and it's funny because, I don't know if I talk about this often. Obviously, I'm going to talk more about myself with you on, but our parents, both parents are kind of, at least for me being the youngest, my mom was even a little older when she had me, but my father was 17 years her senior. So they both grew up in, a kind of segregated country, but if we talk about as a whole, but where their experiences were totally different. Where he went to this, integrated high school, and he had all these white friends growing up. She grew up in Gary, but when it was segregated and the blacks lived in a certain area, even though she was the younger one. So it was weird to see the younger one of the two be the more, I saw this racist and this is what I think about white people. And dad is always like, judge people by the way they are, like kind of like Reagan's trust but verify. You don't just assume that they're negative. You be prepared for something to happen, but don't just say because somebody's black, they're your friend, and because somebody's white, they're out against you. And we would see him with coworkers and all that stuff. We saw white people, he never had an issue. He bring white people over, he go to the bar with white people. Mom, never, but she never said anything. So we just assumed that that was the norm. So I think that we got a lot of positives from that indirectly, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, yeah. Yep, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So we had, like you say, a normal childhood. Grew up with in a two-parent household. Mom was a housewife, so she was always there. We were able to get lunch and go to school and all that kind of stuff, which was good. But
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
when we were little, did you think we were poor?
No, I didn't think we were poor.
No. So looking back now, would you say the same thing?
I think we're okay. We're doing okay.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Yep.
okay. See, I would say that based on, I think we were too, but I think most of that was how we lived and not living beyond your means. But I think on paper, if you go from an income uh, level, I would think that we would definitely be considered poor.
Poor?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends on whether you're thinking poor means poverty. Like, I'm not saying we grew up in a project, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, because you look at it like, yeah, we we got a bike, we had mopeds when we were in, what, like, I guess, how old were we when we got those? Junior high school, ninth grade or whatever. Yeah, probably junior high school.
Oh, the moped you hit a tree with on the first day. Oh,
Really?
yeah.
We're doing that. We're doing that.
Uh,
First of all, it wasn't head on into the tree. The pedal clipped the tree. It was like a clip. It was a clip. Yeah. See, this is the problem. See, there's a plus side and a downside to having your brother on the show. But
oh, my goodness. That was crazy.
anyway,
Oh,
focus.
I
No,
think we're good, man. I think we're
no.
good.
And I know that. But what I'm saying is, think about. So you're looking at. So this is good. So we look at it from a standpoint, and a lot of people who reported us would say that, like, I didn't really, mom and dad did a good job. We didn't think we were poor. But I look at it like this. I just think I remember dad being really, really good with money and managing it well and never spending more than what he had. We stayed in that little apartment and he rented a unit until he could make enough money. Then he bought a house, that kind of thing, right? Use that out. So he was kind of,
Wow,
uh,
you remember the apartment?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, barely.
Wow. Okay.
You remember it too, but you're older than me. I know. But I'm saying
Yeah.
that, say, But if you look at it from a larger standpoint, you have to think about it this way. So, we never had to worry about lights going out. You hear those stories like, yeah, we couldn't pay the bills and all that. That's true. We didn't have that. But how old were you the first time you took a flight?
Uh, first half flight. I think wasn't that the shoot? I was probably 30 something, I
Okay.
guess.
So we didn't fly anywhere, but we have vacations, and we'll get into that. But so we didn't have any flying vacations, but we went on vacations, correct?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. So when we went on vacation, do you remember this? Maybe I'm remembering wrong because I'm younger, but I remember we would drive everywhere we went. We drove to Kings Island, we drove to Texas every time we drove around, right? And we would stop along the way because it's a long drive. But do you remember staying in a fancy hotel when we were driving?
We had a motorhome.
But we didn't always stay in the mobile home, right? Sometimes we stayed at, you know, I've assumed dads, we would stay at their friends. I remember staying on a farm one day and waking up and, some
Oh
I don't know.
yeah.
Right. So that's the
Learn
other
how to
thing.
ride a motorcycle.
Right. So we're going on vacations, but you're not staying in hotels, you're not flying. Here's a better one: day to day at home, not on vacation. Well, do you remember? Because I honestly don't remember ever. Do you remember us going out as a family and sitting in a restaurant, dining in with a server coming to the table? Why are you
Never.
laughing?
I've never seen that happen.
No, that never happened. But think about it, because let's juxtapose. See, it's wonderful that they did such a great job that you think so positive, but I'm more analytical than you. So today, take a regular poor person today. I don't mean like abject poverty, but poor. They still occasionally get to go sit down at an Applebee's, don't they?
So what are you considering poor then?
Right. See, well, poor means that you don't have money for the excesses. See, so basically, a family, because you have to look at it this way. There has to be a measuring stick, right? So obviously, everybody before doesn't live the same way. So let's say, because that's what the government does. They'll say if you are a family of four and you make under X, then you're poor. If you make under X, then you're living below the poverty line. I don't think we ever live below the poverty line. I'm not saying that, but you could have two families of the same size making the same income, and by the government standards, they're poor. But you're like, well, they don't seem poor. They're doing well. They do this, and they seem like they're poor. What's the difference? The only difference is how they're managing the money. But you can't say that family B is not poor because family B is not struggling like family A. It's what they do with the money. But on paper, I think we were. I remember seeing after he retired.
Uh,
I keep in mind, mom worked. You always joke that she's 80 something. You tell her that she's never worked in her life. Uh, but I
yeah.
remember seeing it, and he was making like I think it's toward the end of his career, it was something like $14,000. I don't think it just that was like
Really?
80. Yeah, and that's I don't think it adjusted for inflation even that would be that much more.
Well,
Because
he was good at managing money.
that was the 80s. But yeah, you remember he never bought a new car.
Grief.
He never bought a new car, right? Remember my car that you lost? Remember that one
Yeah.
that I had that you lost? Yeah, so that was some old beat up
Yeah.
station wagon. He would collect little cheap cars. He liked to do tinker. He was a mason. He knew how to work on cars. So he would just buy stuff and fix it up, right? So you looking at it like,
Right.
which is the way I mean, before I really started digging into things, I looked at stuff the same way. But in theory, yeah, you were poor. But
Man,
because he
I did not know that.
right. So but now
Man,
you
he was very, man, I wish I had his skills, man, in
you like the
managing
yeah,
money.
you like the opposite. But I think Ronald would be more like him,
Wow.
right? Ronald, but think about Ronald. Look the way Ronald manages money, right? Ronald
Same way, yeah.
yeah, he doesn't spend a dime unless he has to.
The basics at his house.
Yeah, so we have an older brother's
I'm
named
like,
Ronald.
dude, I'm going to stay in a hotel.
Right. Here's the funny thing. So we got an older brother named Ronald, and since he did volunteer to come on, I'm not going to put all his business out there. But what is interesting about Ronald lives in Atlanta. And so Ronald's been there 30 years, and he just got heat like 2 years ago because he was like, it's
He
mostly
just got
normal.
what?
Heat. Do you remember he never had heat?
Oh, yeah. He
Because he was
still
like, no,
don't.
no, I think he got heat now. A couple of years, he splurged after 30 years. Before he was just like, I
So
don't
he
need
was
heat.
turning on for me when I went to visit.
He didn't turn it off.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Right. So
just crank this up a little bit, this little space heater if you want some
and
heat.
blankets. So his
Like, what?
mindset was, Yeah, right. But his mindset was it's Atlanta, it's mostly hot and rarely cold. And now that it starts to get cold a little bit more, he splurged. But before he's like blankets, I can suffer through the winter. But he's like, but I'll have air conditioning because it's hotter. But he didn't get air conditioning for the first 15 years he was there.
Oh my goodness, yeah,
So that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. But I don't know how much he makes. I don't know if he's poor, but I'm just using that as an example, saying you could be poor, but pinch your pennies well so you don't starve.
right,
Right now,
yeah,
poverty, you can't get around it. If you live in below the poverty line, you're truly poor no matter what. But I'm saying you can have certain areas. So I just think that was the case. Like you never thought about that before. But am I right? We never ate in a
but,
restaurant, and not
yeah,
only the restaurant, Leroy. How often did we get carry out? Imagine how shocked we were the time the dad would be like, all right, I brought some food home. We would like, after we woke up from passing out, we would be excited. I mean, that almost never happened.
right.
Forget about eating in a restaurant. My mom could,
I remember maybe once yeah,
no, he did it
no, man,
occasionally, but I would say our takeout food was about as rare as other people's going to Applebee's today.
yeah,
And think about it. We both know we grew. I mean, we are fortunate and blessed. We're doing better now, but we remember, in our 20s when we were poor and our friends were poor and all that kind of stuff. You got young kids and you're struggling, but you still went out to restaurants occasionally. Our friends still went out. You still got friends that went out. Maybe not that often,
yeah.
maybe once a month. But I'm talking about our whole childhood. We never sat out at a restaurant with a server.
No, we didn't. No, we did. Man, why you had to bring that up? And
I
yeah, we never did.
Never. And takeout was like once a month.
Wow.
And takeout was once a month. It was a super rarity. I mean, we were three hots cooked in the kitchen every day, all the
Yep.
time, period,
Yep.
our whole childhood.
Yep.
So there's that. I mean, dad drove an old car, an old truck most of the time. When he got rid of the mobile home, the first one was really old. He got a nice one later. When we got rid of the last time we went to Texas, remember we went in a little car. We still didn't stay in no hotels. But we weren't staying. I mean, that's just what it was. He was just frugal. So yeah, I think that was the case. I don't want to spend up. We got a lot to talk about. I don't want to spend all the time talking about it. I didn't want to ruin your childhood for you. Now you know you grew up poor. I didn't mean to break that to you. But
Well, all I remember is my moped, and everybody thought we was rich.
I do remember that. That was funny. I do remember how people thought we were rich. I would have people say, and I don't. Some of them were obviously poor for sure, but I don't think all of them were.
I
I
didn't
remember
have a
people.
moped.
I remember some people who I felt, their household income was probably the same as ours, and they would look at us like we had all this money. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Right. So that was funny. And so those vacations were fun. So like I said, we used to drive everywhere. So we still just like normal people. I always thought that our childhood was just like regular American family. So if you're a middle class white family, I would challenge and say my childhood was just like yours if you grew up in the 70s and 80s with two parents. The difference is you got to go to an Applebee's equivalent every once in a while, and we didn't. For as often
Right.
as you went to Applebee's, we got takeout, and as often as you got takeout, we didn't get it. We were cooking, and we never stayed in a hotel, and we traveled and that kind of thing. But outside of that, um, everything else was the same. I mean, we went on vacation. You went on vacation. Maybe you flew. Maybe you had a family compound somewhere. But at the end of the day, we still went on a vacation. We still had friends, and hung out with friends and family, and we still had fun. We remember Kings Island and going to Texas and visiting grandparents and all that kind of stuff. So I say stop looking at my life like it was bad because you stayed at the Four Seasons and I didn't. We still have vacation memories. Like you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. We still had a great life. Your thing, I mean, I ruined it for you, but you were like, no, we had a great childhood. So I think people make the mistake today of measuring how much you spent and how much you made and all that kind of stuff in it, and that's not what's important, And so I mean, you can tell me if you disagree, but I think that was what our childhood was like. It was positive. It was good. Had loving parents. They, didn't necessarily spare the ride, but we knew where we stood, and then we got hot meals and love, right? Birthday cakes and the whole
Yeah.
nine.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
So, let me ask you this: as we move into what the current events coming up shortly, do you remember? Did Dad ever have the talk with you?
It was probably 2 minutes short. Here's a condom.
No, I meant the talk about police as people talk about now?
Oh, it was brief too. It was like, what was it? Three things. What? Uh, man, what was it? That's a shame. There's three things he told me. You got three things against you. You're black, you're male, and something else.
You stupid. No, I'm just
But like, yeah, I know I'm black. I know it's racist out there. We just knew because, mom probably whispered in our ear.
oh, right, right. But see, I don't.
Watch them Caucasians.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it probably came more from mom than dad, and dad just briefly, reiterated.
Right. I don't even remember
Yeah,
that. I think I had it even better talk. The talk I remember, because things change as you go down with the kids. That's why I'm asking you. Mine was like, and I thought this was brilliant. It doesn't work on every kid, but what I got was, "We raised you right." I think this was from him and mom. It was like, "We raised you right." Part of it might have been I had a brother who was older than me that was close, because this was like freshman year, so you were still in high school. And they were like, "We raised you right. We told you right from wrong. And now it's time for you to act and live up to what we taught you." So it was pretty much like this. Most parents out there give you these tight curfews and all these rules and all this other stuff. We're gonna do the opposite. We're basically gonna leave it for you to be free to do whatever you want to, and your actions. Wait, but they were like, your actions will dictate if you keep that freedom. So you go out there and act the fool and get in trouble, then you'll get all these curfews and rules and regulations. If not, so I ended up managing myself. So like I would come home sometimes, even though I didn't have a curfew, but other people did. But I was just like, all right. I mean, because I know if when I got influenced to do something bad, I was like, we could do that. But then if I get caught, then I'm gonna lose the free reign I already got. So I basically kind of built my own fences, so to speak.
yeah, yeah. You did seem a lot more freer than me. I had like I say, my conversation was short.
Well, I didn't climb in and out of windows like you.
Yeah,
See, I won't get into detail, but I think they know what that means. Yeah, so I just asked that because everybody says that every black family knows what it's like to have see, I just don't like these generalities, right? I remember some things, and I'm like, here's somebody that was in the same household. In case we didn't prep anything, so in case you all think I'm making this stuff up,
yeah.
this is the way, the way we grew up. So back to the childhood, later time, growing up in Gary, when we were in high school and young adults, Gary was considered the murder capital of the country. Did you feel that at the time?
Oh, no way, no way. We knew who the gangbangers was, and heck, we just stayed clear of the gangbang. Although I knew both sides, all sides, or whatever, you just knew you couldn't hang with those people.
Right. You could be friendly with them and be like, "Hey, Bob." But when Bob say, "Hey, let's go to the store and jump in the car with me," you're like, "No, I think I'm good.
That's okay.
Don't get in the car with Bob." Right. You know,
Right.
uh, Yeah, and it's like you knew some people. There were ancillary cases, like you knew people who knew somebody that got shot or had an altercation with police, but you didn't really know people, firsthand and that kind of thing. Or if you did, you were like, "Yeah, but that's that guy who was always up to no good," kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Dad did mention that you don't want to run with the wrong crowd. If you
mhm,
see them doing something crazy, you don't need to run with them. And
right,
heck, that's what we did.
yeah, yeah.
We
So
stayed away from them.
and I think that's important because a lot of what we get now are generalities about what Black life is like, and that's what I write about and say those who need help, whether it's racism, it needs to be pushed back against. But this painting everybody with a broad brush and saying all Black people live in, abject poverty and they're uneducated and they're violent doesn't help anybody, and it's just simply not true. Um, and you know, I never thought of you as a political person, and or someone who closely followed current events. But I don't know. I don't see that all the time. So first of all, am I right? Would you say classify yourself as that kind of person uh, in the normal sense? And if so, has it changed in recent years?
No, they haven't changed. I don't really keep up with politics. I don't. I mean, the all I might see is the trend of the biggest news that's out, and that's it.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and then yeah, obviously you know the biggest news now is always this conversation about race relations, right?
yeah. The big thing on Asians now. People,
Oh yeah,
man, what's
Asians.
wrong with these people?
Well, yeah, people just flawed as
Eating
they
up the
always have been.
Asians now.
Yeah, I see that. But
It's
I
crazy.
posted something back in May after George Floyd died because I saw these people just going off and being irrationally on Facebook. I know you don't pay attention. I want to read some of it and see what you think. So this was me responding to them saying, oh, you know, like a LeBron saying all black people are being hunted, all black people this, all black people that. And I said, and they're saying black voices needed to be heard. And I said, I'm the son of two black parents, both who grew up poor in quote unquote Jim Crow America. They had three children, all boys. And we grew up in Gary, Indiana, spent our summers in rural town in North Texas, visiting our grandparents. Said all three of us graduated high school, but dropped out of college. And we've all, over the years, lived in small towns and big cities, black neighborhoods, mixed neighborhoods, poor and middle class neighborhoods. And if whites were all racist and white cops are hunting us, why haven't we had the same experiences? At the time, I said we are combined 154 years old. And in all our experience, we've all had good and bad experiences and situations with the police, but none of us have ever felt we were hunted, meaning me, you, and Ronald. And the reason is simple. It's not that we're special, but we never broke the law. We choose our associations wisely, and we never unnecessarily challenge the police. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Um, I never experienced any type of racism from the police or anything like that, and I got stopped plenty times with
No, that's.
traffic stops. You know the way I drive and
I was going to get to that, and
motorcycles
I was
and
going to get to
fast
that, but
cars and
uh,
yeah.
oh, I
Um,
forgot about the motorcycle. Oh no, no, no! Don't say anything about that. We're going to save that for later when we talk about your hobbies. Talk about you thinking your life is boring. I'm going to talk about that later. But go ahead. So
oh, yeah.
you
Oh
never really
yeah. So
experienced
yeah,
that.
I haven't experienced it. Thank God I haven't, but I'm sure some have. But I don't label all police and everybody the same. So yeah,
Right.
I agree. I haven't experienced that.
And
Not saying that's not there, it's not real, but I haven't experienced it.
well,
And
well,
I
this
don't feel hungry.
Well, this is important though, because I'm not saying it's not there either. I even go on to say I know many people have had dark, sad stories. They've had negative experience, and we're all shaped by experiences. So I'm not negating their experience. They want to say, "Well, I know the truth, and this is what happened." I'm not negating that. But what I'm arguing is that when you say all black people X, you're negating Charles and Leroy and Ronald's experience. You're saying your experience is the real black experience. Well, it's three of us. One of us a fluke, but what are the chances that all of us grew up in the murder capital of America? All of us grew up black. All of us grew up, as men, and none of us has had that experience. So you have to,
Yeah.
you can't go around saying all of us have these same experiences. That was the argument I was trying to make. But speaking of police, do you remember? Do you remember we were talking about police, and just for the record, Leroy's pretty much pro police, and he looks at these things in a very honest, especially with no political, because he doesn't follow politics lens. And he's many times said the cop. I'm not saying he did anything illegal, but he should have done that better. The person should have done this better. He was very measured. But I remember, let's see if you remember this, where you came to me one time, it's like, Charles, I got you. I got the one. Guy was in it completely innocent. The cop was completely wrong. There's no way you can draw any nuances on this one, Charles. I got you. And I said, which one is this? And you said Eric Gardner. You remember this?
I think so.
Because I told you, you were like, yeah, all he did was this. He didn't do anything. That cop just did this. And I said, go back and watch the video. What did he say? You're like, what do you mean? What did he say? What did Eric Gardner say? Because the video that made all the news that was floating around social media was about 3 to 5 minutes. The whole altercation was like 18 minutes. I said, go watch the video. You're like, no, Charles, I'm a pro, just as pro cop as anybody else. But no, I don't see, I don't, nope, you're not going to get me with this. I said, go watch the video. And you came back to me and you was like, yeah, I watched it. You don't remember what he said?
What do you say?
He said, I'm tired of you all harassing me all the time. And they tried to arrest him. He snatched his arm away. He's like, this ends today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I just asked, so what was the cop supposed to do? His boss tells him to arrest. They got a valid complaint. Now he says he wasn't selling cigarettes, but I'm just saying that I'm not saying he was that day, but I'm saying the man had been arrested over 30 times for doing it. So the likelihood is pretty high. The store owner calls, they show up, whatever happened. If he's innocent, he would have gotten released like the 29 times before. But now they're standing there. This is the situation. You are under arrest and you're like snatching away from the officer, like, I'm not going. What are we going to be like
Right,
an adult and a
right,
4-year-old is like, yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. So I just simply asked, how long is that supposed to go on before they forcibly arrest him?
right,
So we never really look at what the person does and say that basically once the cop causes a negative physical reaction, all bets are off and we don't care what the person did. And I think that's the
right.
problem.
The craziest one I seen was what was the guy that got shot by the police? He was in the minivan with his kids. I
Oh
think
yeah, oh
the
yeah, Jacob
girlfriend called the
Blake,
cop.
Jacob Blake,
Who?
Jacob Blake.
Yeah, that was crazy, dude. I
No,
mean,
the craziest part was that they kept saying on the news because they have a narrative. He was an unarmed man, an unarmed man, an unarmed man. The man himself went on 2020 and said, "Yeah, I had a knife," and then I dropped it, and then I picked it up again. I probably shouldn't have picked it up. But you know what my favorite part of the story is? Because I'm, me. You can talk about me being so analytical and so literal, but words matter to me. And this is political because everybody I heard tell the story, left or right, said this. They kept saying he got shot 7 times. Remember that? Man shot 7 times in the back, shot 7 times in the back. And I was like, what? And it was like, well, he got shot 7 times, but it was because of this. Even the people defending the police said, yeah, they shot him 7 times, but because and I'm like, I'm not really sure that's true. Did anybody look that up? And the best that I can find is a quote from his actual lawyer saying he was shot 4 times. So we can't even
yeah,
get that part right.
yeah, yeah.
So that's just seems so crazy to me. So I want to talk about this the evils and the darkness and the sad situations that all Black people live in, these terrible boring lives. I want to talk about you. That when I wanted to have you on, you were like, why you want to talk to me? There's nothing interesting about me. I think you live an interesting life, and it's interesting in its simplicity, but because it's so, I like the fact that it's so simple and so much like the norm. It's like anybody else. And um, so you say, I ask you what you do. You say, I just go to work and then I go home. But no, you got some hobbies there, don't you? Um, so I referenced the
Yeah.
motorcycle. So my brother Leroy loves speed. And he talked about being pulled over many times earlier. So when we were little, I forgot about the motorcycle. Tell them about the accident you had where you still, I don't know if you still do, where you walked around screaming, my knees, because your knees were hurting.
Oh my goodness! That's when Dina's was still popping, man.
Right? Uh-huh. So Dina's,
Clowns. I've been packed both sides of the street. Here I
yep.
come around the corner, put the bike on one wheel, take it about 3 or 4 blocks to the next light. The light turned red while I still got it up in the air. And bam, right into a car. He didn't see me because, of course, my headlight's in the air. I fly over the doggone car. I pass out. I come to, the first thing I ask is, where's my bike? My motorcycle okay? It's split in half.
Oh
It's
my God.
across the street. It's a pole split in half. I was like, where's my bike? Is it
Oh
okay?
my God. Oh my
Then it
God.
was like, what about your shoes? I got my brand new shoes on.
This is
Oh
this is
my goodness.
this is from a man with a born life. Wait a minute, we're not done yet. Leroy, how many Corvettes have you had?
Oh, well, this is the fourth one now, but a drunk driver hit one of them.
Yeah. What happened to the other one?
Uh, See what happened was I was warming up the tires at the red light to get a fast takeoff. forgot to press the button and put it back in traction control, and I kind of spun out, hit a pole,
When you
totaled it.
totaled it. Yep, 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 yep. And
Crazy part was I got out and I started standing with the crowd looking at it like, hey, who was in that car? Like, I don't know, man. They tore that car up. Like, oh my goodness.
wait. It gets better. So you, when you're not crashing Corvettes and doing 4 block wheelies, you like me, you like to race, right? So you like to
Oh yeah,
just
oh yeah, oh yeah.
challenge people on
Sunday
the
fun day.
so
Sunday fun day. Yeah, yeah.
so
I can't tell the location,
mhm,
but yeah, Sunday fun day.
so tell
All night. But,
it,
oh, this Sunday is gonna be what, in the 60s? Oh yeah.
wait. So tell
Sunday
the
fun
people
day.
now as we juxtapose this with race and policing. I love this story. Tell the police about the story. I think this was recent, obviously post George Floyd. When you get pulled over for, probably doing 120 or something. So the cop pulls you over, you're black, he's white, and go.
Oh, that was Sunday fun day one day. The cops did come, clear the area out. I guess I'm the one they caught, and he was like, "Look, I ain't gonna arrest you. We just trying to discourage people from going out there. It's no big deal. I'm not. You don't have to say nothing. All white cops ain't that bad." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, it's fine. But here's your license. We just trying to discourage you from coming out trying to race. No big deal though. I'm not gonna arrest you." Like, yeah, I understand. Thank you, officer. Went on my merry. Although I got big drag tires on and my doggone license plate say "Bring your ass." So
Yeah, that might be a giveaway.
yeah, I wasn't racing though.
Uh,
I was just sitting there.
you were just watching that time.
Yeah, I was just watching. I mean, I was trying to get out of the way.
Yeah. And then the other thing in this another aspect to this so-called boring life is the fascination with guns. I always joke that I was like, man, as apolitical and as nice as my brother is, I always say he's one of the nicest people that I've ever met. But I was like, if on paper, my brother is a white wing extremist. I mean, you collect. I mean, think about it. You collect. You get money stored away just in case. You're basically a prepper. You like fast cars. You like buying foreign currency. You love guns. I mean, you're white. You're white supremacist. Hey, you're a black white supremacist from Gary, Indiana. It's hilarious. So, what are your other hobbies of guns? Right? You like to shoot and buy guns a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, I bought a few. A couple of ARs, couple of AKs.
Your favorite's the AR handgun, right?
Everybody got to have 1,000 rounds of each. Everybody got to have multiple magazines before they
Wait.
stop the sale of magazines. So
Right. But wait a minute. But the funny part is you not as bad as some of your other friends, but you're also one of those every time you don't pay attention to politics, but when they do talk about, tightening gun laws or whatever, it's time to go buy another one.
yeah. Oh my goodness! All the gun stores was just crowded all the time. It didn't matter what day of the week it was. It was crowded.
Oh yeah, they're making a mint. But here's the other thing, side note from the guns, you carry, right?
Yeah.
So there's that too. Black man with a bunch of guns who carries, who likes to think about it. Put this in your mind, people. Leroy Love this way. I want you all to think of this. Here is a black man. He's darker than me. If you've ever seen me, black man driving around at 120 in a Corvette,
Yeah.
carrying a weapon, who doesn't feel like he's being hunted.
Yeah.
No political angle. He's not.
And one white cop was even nice enough to tell me, okay, I see you got your concealed carry, you got your weapons. I was like, yes, it's on my left side hip. What do you want me to do? Like, oh, that's okay. You can just take it out. I was like, okay, I'm taking it out slowly. Here you go. It was like, okay, here's your ticket. But just a fun fact, make sure you chamber around in there. I was like, okay, thank you for that fact. You're exactly right. I should keep a chamber around
Right. I
while
mean,
carrying it, ready to go.
yeah. Otherwise, why you carry? You might as well have a purse.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And lastly, this has nothing to do with politics or guns or any of that stuff. It's just you thinking that you're boring, which is funny. So Leroy is very, go to work, go home, do anything. But so that's why it even shocks me that when he's spontaneous, he's crazy spontaneous. One day he calls me and he's like, "Can you Google something in Miami or something?" He was trying to Google a flight or something. I'm like, "You got a computer? I'm at work. Why can't you do it?" "Well, I'm driving." Where are you on your way to?" "I'm on my way to the airport." He's the kind of person that would just go to the airport like, "Man, I got a weekend off. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go to the airport and just buy a ticket and go somewhere for one." The other day,
Yeah.
once he was driving because he's got his Corvette. So I'm in New York now. He's in Chicago, and he was going. I think he was going to go visit his kids, but he looked at the storm and the weather was bad, so he just got his
Right.
boat up in New York. What the heck? I got a couple
Right.
of idle days. I might as well just drive my Corvette all the way to New York City.
Yep.
84 days, said, show me Harlem, show me Central Park, show me the Trump Tower. And then he got in the car and was like, "I'm not even gonna stay, I'm leaving," and then drove back home. And then I heard you just did the thing recently and went to Atlanta.
The main thing I wanted to see was that where they do the ball drop at. Where is that at?
Oh yeah, Times Square. Hmm.
That's the main thing I wanted to see. Times Square, the big screen.
And it
I
was
was happy. I was happy off of that.
and it was disappointing because everything was all scaffolded and wrapped around and stuff.
Oh, there's a freaking dog on Walgreens. That
It was
was
a Walgreens at the
disappointing.
bottom. That's right. You were like, "What is that doing here?" But you got to ride the subway. You got to take a picture in front of Trump Tower and send it to your mom so she can throw up a little bit. It was a pleasure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Since she's listening, I got to take another dig. The other day, we had to end our conversation because I was trying to give us some context about coronavirus. I said, whether you think the president did a good job or a bad job or whatever, you have to start from the intent. You don't think that somebody's like any one of them, Biden or Trump or any of them, want a million people to die or whatever. She said, "No, I think Trump did because he's a racist." I said, "You do know all the people who died were minorities, right?" I was like, "So I will be talking to you later. You have a wonderful day." We have those conversations sometimes because sometimes she goes to her extreme. But you like, bless her soul. Is that what you said? Well, see, this has been
Oh
fun.
yeah.
You said that we were going to have nothing to talk about, and we are probably over already. I'm going to cut out some of your craziness, but this is fun. See, so you people can get to hear me and see. People will be able to see that we had a normal life. That all black people aren't being hunted, and hear it from a normal black, not somebody with a political angle like me, not somebody on TV, not somebody because they're rich or whatever. Just regular old black guy living his life, shooting his guns, driving his Corvettes, and going to Klan rallies. Well, Leroy, thanks for joining me. And I'm sure I might talk to you every now and again. It's been fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.